Three, two, one. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Triple Side Thoughts. My name is Jesse Hernandez,
Darrell Roberts.
and we just watched WandaVision
Episode
episode 4.
4.
So, quick recap of what we just saw. I think it's a lot of information to take, especially if you've been kind of into episode 1, 2, and 3. So, you want to go ahead and maybe talk a little bit how the episode started?
Yeah, so it started with the blip, the reverse snap.
The reverse snap.
So you see people start coming back and undusting, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And Monica Rambeau's daughter.
Which is pretty awesome, actually, because we never seen that before.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of got a little bit on Spider-Man, but we never really got to see, like, hey, this is exactly how it happened in real life, you know, and what happened with those people that are coming back, right? We got it with Spider-Man, yes, but
I feel not as in detail as we
did right now. And we found out who Geraldine in the show was, who is Agent Rambeau from S.W.O.R.D. No, from S.W.O.R.D. And we ended up finding out she's actually a bigger part in the outside world as well, right? Which kind of gives it, I think, what we talked about last time, right? Some of these people are not really there, or not really part of her mind.
They're real people, though.
Yeah, they are real people.
Yeah,
right. We find out that, I mean, later on in the episode, we get to see a little bit more about who they are, but we end up finding out that Agent Rambeau is part of S.W.O.R.D. She gets debriefed, and then they kind of tell her, like, hey, you're being grounded, right? Physically, and I think, like, in metaphorically, right? So, like,
and those are orders by her mom.
Yeah.
Based on if the people that dusted came back, that these provisions were put in place when they did come back.
And we also get to find out a little bit more who S.W.O.R.D. is, right? Yeah. So if you go back into Captain Marvel, at the end of the episode, we end credit scene. We find out, we see a little bit. We don't know about it. If you don't watch the or read the comic books, you don't know about this. But the end credit scene shows a little bit more about who S.W.O.R.D. is, right? So it's like Agents of S.W.O.R.D. or the FBI, but with, like, dealing with space stuff now. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then the show goes on, they introduce a little more characters and find out that there is a town that doesn't really exist, right, in real life in New Jersey. And that's how they kind of start off, like, connecting a little bit more of the parts of what we're seeing. So fast forward a little bit more, we get to see the little helicopter that was falling in, the beekeeper. We're going to find a little bit more who they are. And overall, this was, like, such a freaking great episode. I mean, if you want to go ahead and maybe start a little bit more on our thoughts and...
Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal episode, like, mind-blowing. One thing that we get a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain of what's going on is when we find out a little bit more about what's going on, because the radio frequencies, they find out.
Oh, we find out what that was.
Yeah, and then they find out that, get me a TV. And we kind of go back and watch episodes 1 through 3 quickly with S.W.O.R.D. watching those episodes, and
so we're watching a show about a show in a show.
Yep, and we found out that specific scene of S.W.O.R.D. taking notes and closing the notebook, at the end of every episode, actually happened in this episode.
Yeah.
So it's coming full circle as
to what's really going on. And it means, like, nothing, right? For us, we were like, oh, cool, juicy stuff. But for them, it's like, oh, cool, this is just B-roll. So yeah, we get to find out a little bit more about that. And I think overall the show just gave us so much more than we got from episode 1 and 2, in my opinion. Right? I mean, you guys have been watching this. I've been saying, hey, like, this is a slow start. And right away in this episode, I was like, yes, give me this. I want more. I was excited. I was smiling the whole time and laughing. I think it's the first time I laugh a lot in this show, right? While watching the show. You know, so I mean, we got a lot. I mean, what do you think is happening in the outside world and the inside world right now?
Well, the outside world's trying to figure it out. Obviously, that was them trying to communicate to Wanda in that one episode where they're at the pool. And Wanda, who's doing this to you? Like, that was them radioing in, trying to figure out if they could communicate with Wanda, which they thought they didn't.
Yeah.
Because she changed the reality of the TV land.
She's able to edit stuff of what's being broadcast, right? So whenever we saw in episode 1 and 2 or 3, whatever rewinded or whatever happened, the people outside never get to see that.
I don't think the broadcasting is intentional on her part. I think they figured out a loophole to be able to see what's going on in this alternate reality that she's created. But she's able to warp that alternate reality TV land that she's created.
Yeah, I mean, the bubble that they're in, this bubble that this town that doesn't really exist is in, reminded me a lot about, like, you know, when you see TVs or they're like static, like not working, but with like the newer TVs. That's kind of what it reminded me of, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, and that's what they talked about, is that frequency that they picked up.
Yeah, I mean, they brought that girl back from Thor. I thought that was kind of cool. So connecting a lot more stuff. I don't care if it was like that girl, but I was like, dude, this is cool. Now we're for sure getting like Thor vibes. We might get a reason or find out what exactly. Remember that Thor scene where he popped out of the pool? Has that been explained yet?
Someone explained it, but I don't think it was inside the MCU. I think there was a video that we may have watched that explained that.
Yeah, but I also think that that might be part of this.
Yeah, quite
possibly. Right. Like
that's what he talked about.
Yeah, I think this is probably introducing a lot more than what we know, right? So it's for sure introducing Doctor Strange, the show that he's going to be having,
the movie multiverse.
I think this is also going to.
It's all leading up to that.
This is also going to help shape a little bit more of what we're hearing from Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, man, I'm for this now. You know, as far as what my predictions are for this show, I mean, I think
before we get into predictions, I want to bring up one more crazy thing. Was Geraldine. We've got a little more peek behind that scene of what happened to her getting kicked out of the TV land. So when she broke character, she was actually saying, Ultron killed your brother to Wanda. And Wanda was like,
well, no, rewind that a little bit. Wanda broke character first and started talking about her, how she had a brother.
That's not breaking character, though. She had a brother.
Yeah, but in the show, technically, she doesn't have a brother. That's what I'm saying. She broke character.
But you don't know that.
She broke. My thoughts is like she broke character first.
But when she breaks character, it's very clear because she has a certain look on her face, a certain demeanor. I don't think that was breaking character yet. Because when she breaks character, like when she sees the beekeeper, she's like, no. When she breaks character for Vision to help his boss, she's like, Vision, help him.
Yeah, but also
the tone of voice breaks too.
Also, if you go back and watch the last episode, she did break character because she's so mesmerized by her kid that at this point, I don't think, again, if you're like so focused and you're like just talking at this point, you broke character, right? So she's not doing this for the show, right? Because they don't get to see that in real life. So that I think that's how she broke character, and then somehow Geraldine in the show, who's Agent Rambo from S.W.O.R.D, she's like, oh shoot, I know this, and then somehow that got connected, right? We don't know that information yet.
Yeah, but she broke character, Geraldine, and then she said, Wanda, Ultron killed your brother, and then Wanda was like, who are you? And she couldn't answer the question, and she's like, no, you're not my neighbor, and she kicked her out of the universe, and she looks evil at that point.
Yeah,
like she's upset, she's mad, and then once she's kicked out of the universe, she literally pushes her through walls, and the walls break apart, and there's a big hole, and then she fixes it all, and then that's when Vision walks in that episode. But this time when she sees Vision, he's his dead, grayed out with the Mind Stone ripped out of his head.
Pretty much how we saw him last time.
Yeah.
Like the last time you saw him,
when Thanos ripped his Mind Stone right out of his head. So that's when I was like, oh, that's dark. So it's gonna. I think we're gonna have more moments like that where it gets dark. And with that, predictions moving forward. So what I think is gonna happen in the next episode, at least a part of it, is we're gonna get briefing by Agent Rambo.
Yeah.
And I think what's gonna happen there is they're going to be asking her, were you under some kind of spell? How was it going out there? And she's gonna explain what it was like playing in the 60s and in the 70s, because she was in both those episodes. What if she was under some kind of control playing this character, and then also figuring out when she broke character, when she realized something isn't right here. And she's going to explain, and we're going to get a little bit more peek into how Wanda is in control of this universe.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So when Loki we're going way back. When Loki had the Mind Stone, mm-hmm. right? So before it became the part of Vision here, when the Mind Stone was controlling Hawkeye and all these other people, they mentioned they don't have control. So I think that's being part of it, because she's technically a product of that of that.
Yeah, she has Infinity Stone. She has the same power.
So she has the same power. So what I think is happening is, again, they're not in. They weren't on. They aren't in control. I feel like we're getting the same vibes that we got from that from Loki's scepter, and saying, hey, I don't know. Like, it just I was able to connect two and two together. Like, I'm sure they're probably trapped in there. And I think with my predictions here is I don't think that she's in full control. She's in control as what is being created, but she's not the one moving this part. So I think she's a pawn in this, and there's someone bigger, and I think it was Mephisto you mentioned,
quite possibly.
There's a devil guy,
even Agatha Harkness,
her too. I think Mephisto's the big guy, and then it might be into Agatha. That was somehow it was able to convince Wanda and saying, hey, let me show you a better way to actually get what you want. Right? And kind of like did that genie move where, hey, yes, you get what you want, but you're also getting screwed. Right? Where is becoming maybe more of like a puppet, I would think. Yes, she's able to do all these things. She has great powers, but also someone in the background is pulling the strings here and there. Right? And we've seen it in the last couple episodes where there's people that are knowledgeable of what's happening. Right? So I don't know. I mean, I think this episode was great. We got a lot more meat and potatoes out of it. I was happy. I'm happy with this one.
Heck
you
yeah.
know,
MCU delivering once again.
What are your predictions as far as like who's the bad guy? And all that.
Wanda is gonna end up being a villain in this, and it's leading up to the multiverse of madness. So whatever happens in terms of the end of this episode, whatever she's creating, it's going to lead into the multiverse of madness. We know that she's in it. So I think Doctor Strange is...
Wait, how do we know that she's in it?
Going against her. I mean, look into it. It's all knowledge, common knowledge, that she's in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I think everyone's going to be in it. Right, we're gonna get a little bit of Spider-Man. We're gonna get a little bit more of this, but obviously, if you're watching this, you might know a little bit more. As maybe from me, I don't like watching those extra stuff for the MCU. I like enjoying the show the way they are. And I don't have much comic book knowledge. I mean, I have like the core, some of the core characters, but not like this is deep cut type of stuff, And I think we get a little bit more as far as where this series is heading. So I'm very excited to find out a little bit more about who is being who's controlling Wanda, what is Wanda's end goal, and at the same time, how does S.W.O.R.D tie into everything of this? And can we get more stuff in space type of stuff? So, yeah, I mean, as far as anything else you want to say, actually,
that's it.
Cool. So I want to thank you guys for watching this. I think as far as moving forward, we're gonna be putting out the WandaVision episode thoughts every single week as they come out, and then we're also gonna be putting out a little bit more of 1 minute recap type or explain this type of video. So you'll see
Look
those
out for that.
You'll see those coming in here. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.
We'll also be having a podcast coming up pretty soon. Well, we're doing a interview of a phenomenal person that has a YouTube channel, so watch out for that. And we love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, comment down below, let us know your thoughts, and share this video to anyone watching WandaVision. Thank you guys.